Jesus spending the number 40 in the wilderness was not just random, it was deeply symbolic. In Numbers 13, verses 31 to 34, when the 12 scouts of Israel came back from spying 40 days on Canaan, the land which God had promised them, 10 of the spies, except Joshua and Caleb, despite God's promise, brought back a fearful report, discouraging the people and making them afraid. They claimed the Israelites were too weak to conquer the land. Here is where it gets interesting, a symbolism to why Jesus spent 40 days in the wilderness. Now, because the people became afraid after the 10 spies got them scared, God then declared their punishment. In Numbers 14, verses 33 to 34, God declared that none of them would enter into the promised land, and their children would wander 40 years in the wilderness, paying a year for each day it took the scout to spy the land. Now remember, it took the scout 40 days to spy the land, so their children were going to pay a year for each day. That means 40 days would be equal to 40 years. Now this is the connection with Jesus. First, why was Israel sent to the wilderness for 40 years in the first place? The answer is in Deuteronomy 8, verses 1 to 5, which says Israel, being God's firstborn son, was sent into the wilderness to be disciplined and humbled as a father disciplines a son, letting them go hungry and then feeding them with manna, teaching them that men do not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the Lord's mouth, so they could learn how to depend on the Father. Now in Jesus' case, as captioned in Matthew 4, verses 1 to 3, he was led into the wilderness by the Spirit for 40 days to be tempted by the devil. Remember when he became very hungry, the tempter came and said, "If you are the Son of God, command these stones to turn to bread." Do you remember what Jesus said? Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. Jesus just quoted Deuteronomy 8, verses 3. But Deuteronomy 8, verses 3 is about God driving his firstborn son, Israel, into the wilderness for 40 years so they could learn to depend on him and not on bread alone. So why did Jesus quote it about himself? Because Jesus was reliving the events of Israel. Remember, a day is equivalent to a year. Jesus' 40 days symbolize Israel 40 years in the wilderness. Where the nations failed, he succeeded. The temptation of Jesus mirrors Israel's own struggles. 1. Israel failed by complaining about food, Exodus 16. But Jesus trusted God's provision, quoting Deuteronomy 8:3. 2. Israel tested God at Massa, demanding a sign, Exodus 17, 2-7. But Jesus refused to test God when Satan told him to throw himself from the temple, quoting Deuteronomy 6:16. 3. Israel worshipped the golden calf, Exodus 32. But Jesus rejected Satan's offer of gaining worldly power if he worshipped him, quoting Deuteronomy 6:13. This pattern shows that Jesus is the true and faithful Israel, fulfilling what Israel could not. Where the first son, Israel, failed, the true son, Jesus, triumphed. His victory over temptation foreshadowed his ultimate victory over sin and death. This also aligns with Matthew's gospel, which frequently portrays Jesus as the new Moses leading a new Exodus, delivering his people not from Egypt, but from sin. If this message gave you insight into the scriptures, please don't forget to like and subscribe so you get notified as I look forward to dropping more videos like this. Thank you.